We admit everybody, please.
Yeah, please.
So good afternoon, all of you. And we are going to start the talk 6 of Mathrubhumi MaxEd webinar series. And the last 5 weeks, we have prominent personalities coming and talking to us on different themes. And all our themes have been very contextual in the present, what is happening in the present times. And we are very privileged to have Professor Neharika Vohra with us today. And she will be talking to us on emotional agility during challenging times and the steps for adaptability. Neharika madam doesn't need any introduction, but still we have to do our formalities. So she just want to tell you that she is a professor of IIM Ahmedabad and she's a faculty chair, leadership and change management. And to do a formal introduction, I would ask Professor Ebi to do that honors. Professor Ebi has been a student of Neharika madam, so I think Professor Ebi deserves it. So
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Vineet, for the introduction, and yeah, very happy to see Neharika ma'am on this board of MaxEd, and it is our pleasure and privilege to have you on this forum. And to talk about Neharika madam, I'm already conveyed to her that I'll give a very brief introduction, because if I read out the entire thing, it won't end. So that is the kind of credentials we have given to the academic as well as for the society. So basically, she did her post-graduation from the University of Manitoba, Canada, in social psychology, and the same she have done for the PhD. Her PhD is in social psychology, and she is currently being the faculty chair for the change management and leadership in IIM Ahmedabad. And my connection with Neharika ma'am is talking about myself, as a professional, as an academic, my life have changed after, before September 2006 and after February 2007. This is the time period when I spend my 111 days with IIM Ahmedabad for a faculty development program. But the grind you get in IIM Ahmedabad, along with that, the kind of composure or the compassion and generosity that the faculty members have shown, like Neharika ma'am, Biju sir, and all others, we could reform, we could rethink about what actually we have learned and how to convey all these things. And one line which she used to tell to teachers, especially in the faculty development program, Neharika ma'am used to say that the teachers should be the people who should be least using the jargons and make students made. It is your responsibility to make the students understand about what actually is the concept. So don't use jargons, simplify it, and that is the greatness of a teacher. And with this small introduction, it's over to you, ma'am. And I also welcome all the participants who are participating from Zoom as well as YouTube or Facebook. So it is over to you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. It's really my pleasure to be here, and I know it's a Saturday afternoon. There is almost a webinar, what shall we say, fatigue people have, because everything is available, and but it's a topic that I feel very passionately about, and therefore I thought I would accept your invite, and thank you for inviting me. And I would just share for about maybe, let us say, 30-35 minutes, and then I'm happy to answer questions or further the conversation as you might deem fit. So we'll take it from there. All right. I think one of the terms that is most used, misused, abused, whatever you might want to call, is intelligence. Yeah, she's intelligent. She's not intelligent. She's she's less intelligent than the other, and so on and so forth. And so if you're in academics, and if you are a student at this point of time, or if you have, so that you would have definitely heard the term intelligence. Sometimes somebody who speaks well is called intelligent. Sometimes somebody who does math at a very speedily is called intelligent. Sometimes somebody who can remember a lot of things is called intelligent. So there seems to be a lot of confusion about what is intelligence. And I'm going to add one more aspect to this entire conversation, is that there is also something that we call emotionally intelligent. And and I don't want to simply add, but I want to definitely share what is emotional intelligence. Can you and I be emotionally intelligent? And is it something like math that I can, either I'm very good at it or I'm not good at it, are some of the questions we will talk about. In today's day and age, we are at possibly one of the worst of our lifetime periods. So there is, the COVID is around. We don't know whether it is going to, how it is affecting us. We don't know how it is going to be, finally panning out. We have now a whole institute, 100 acres, with maybe 30 classes and no students, and classes are happening. One hears every day news of a whole family being tested COVID positive. One hears news of friends and friends of friends losing their life. I also heard yesterday of a friend who who was tested positive, and I guess felt so much shame and so much stigma around it that he actually committed suicide in Chennai. So, so it's a very difficult time, and on top of it, in Kerala and in many other states, Kerala especially, the accident of yesterday, the plane, and the rains and all of that, it only adds to the entire feeling of distress, unhappiness, uncertainty, ambiguity, not knowing what to do. It's very common for people to feel emotionally even more depressed. And in that context, I think it is absolutely important for us to have this conversation about what does it mean to be emotionally intelligent. How can I be more agile with the emotions that I feel, and how can I possibly do a little better in terms of developing my resilience to do well, to kind of get through this time, right? So let me quickly, I'll share a screen. I have a short presentation. I'll use that presentation to do the talking. And I can sometimes, I may not be able to see your chat comments in the same time, but if you do have something, maybe Abby, if you can tell me in case I'm going too fast or too slow, or if it's not making sense to you, then just, say something to me so that I can.
Sure, we'll do that.
Right, okay. So what I will do is I will share my screen.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming.
It is paused, it says. Can you see it?
No, no, it's only written, started sharing the screen.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Can you undo and
I'll stop share. I'll do it
and
one more time.
one more,
Yeah,
one more.
no problem. Um, just give me 1 second.
Okay.
Maybe there is something that's happening here. Sorry. All right. So while this is happening, whatever is happening here, I have no clue why it's not showing. It was showing in the earlier time I had tested it. So just give me 1 second.
Yeah. Yeah, it has come up.
Yeah, you can see it now. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So what I will do is I'll actually use.
Maybe you can make it view show. No?
Yeah, it's visual.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I'm actually going to not ask you all of these questions. Well, I could. Very quickly, if you could possibly think of, and we don't, it's not an interactive session. So, but if you could think of what do you feel when someone, and I've given you some very common situations. And individually, wherever you're sitting, if you can quickly write some answers for this. So when someone ignores me, when someone cries very loudly, when
Madam,
someone praises me, yeah.
Madam, we can see both the slides. I think you have to go one more step for viewing the show. Actually, this has been duplicate. What you have seen in your screen is been duplicated here. Is if that's okay, we can go like that.
Okay.
Because we are also seeing the next slide
The
on
next
the right
slide. That's not good. That you should not do. I mean, it's not a. I don't know why this is doing it. Is it better now?
Yeah. Now
All
it's
right.
okay. Okay, thank you.
So, once again, if you see this, these are some of the questions that I have for you, and these are very common situations. Someone cries in front of you, someone praises you eloquently, someone talks about themselves all the time, someone gets mad at you, they're very angry, someone attracts you, you feel attracted to them, someone really shows a lot of care for you, when someone acts superior to you, someone breaks a confidence, you're in a group of strangers and someone really listens to you. Very quickly, if you could tell me that how many of you would have written for these some of the words that you would have written. You could just type them in chat. That would help me to look at some of the words. You don't have to tell me exactly for which one you wrote what, but I just want some of the fill in the blanks. Yeah. Good. I can see some people will say they feel disappointed, they feel hurt, they feel bad, they feel irritated, they feel small, they feel depressed, they feel sad, they feel confused, they feel good, they feel bad, they feel happy, they feel upset, lost, hurt, comfort the person, and sad, and so on and so forth. Good. Okay. I think what might be interesting for you to notice that even in this small sample that has come to me, and you can compare it with some of the words that you have possibly written. Many of the words that we use are not necessarily feeling words, but they are more the state I'm in. So bored is a state, it's not a feeling, right? Small is a state. I'm for some reason feeling small. Or let's see, something like a happy, good, bad are judgments of how I'm feeling rather than actual feelings. So if feeling stressed is not necessarily a feeling. It is again a state in which I am. So what I'm trying to say is that for even very, very common situations, many of us don't necessarily know how we feel. We know how we think about how we feel. We know how we judge how we feel. We know what it is to, we know the state I can get into, but I sometimes don't necessarily know how I really feel at this point of time. And in fact, this is important because and I'll tell you why that is important, because actually an emotion, very simply, is something that you feel that is brief, right? We have multiple stimulus that are impinging on us at any given point of time. I would go mad if I had to attend to every single stimulus. I pick up, my body picks up stimulus, my brain picks up stimulus that it thinks are important. And the way it tells me that I'm picking up an important stimulus is the feeling or the emotion that arises at that point of time. So feeling is always linked to something. It is linked to a person I see. It is linked to an event. It is not free floating. It is not a mood. It is not a state. It is actually a warning of from the body to me, to my consciousness, that there is something that is happening to which you possibly need to respond. And in fact, I don't have to be taught how to feel, right? In fact, we are born with feelings. If you see, these are universal 4 basic emotions, irrespective of whether you are a newborn baby or you're a 90-year-old. You will feel happy, you will feel sad, you will feel mad, and you will feel scared, right? It is how these are 4 really basic emotions. Of course, everything with humans is a lot more complex. So I have a whole range of happiness, I have a whole range of sadness, I have a whole range of anger, and I have a whole range of fear. And all of these are universal, very basic emotions that every one of us feels, no matter whether you're a young person or an old person. In fact, these are really important for us to have, because if I did not feel fear, I would not move away from harm's way. If I did not feel happiness, I will not be able to do some of the things that I really do, even if they are really, really difficult. If I did not feel sad, I will possibly not be able to experience a certain level of my relationship with another person. Or if I did not feel anger, somebody could really completely stomp me and not take care of me. So in fact, every one of us needs to feel, and these are universal and they're basic. So I have a whole problem with the way things are. The narrative today is because everybody says happiness is more important. We should all be happy. It can't be. It's unreal. I cannot be always happy. I will be happy, I will be sad, I will be upset, and I will be scared. That is a given. There is no 2 ways about it, right? We will always feel one of these things, and we just need to accept it and we need to work with it. What is emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence is to know that I feel it. I am feeling something. What is it that I'm feeling something about? And what is the appropriate response to it is being emotionally intelligent. And I'll talk about it a little more. So the first and foremost is, for most of us, we simply lack a feeling vocabulary, right? Just like I showed you a number of instances and I asked you to write certain feelings. In fact, after a few sentences, we seem to be repeating our words, our feeling words, or we don't have a feeling word. Though I know I've felt something, I really don't know how to describe it. I don't even know what I feel. So in one of the common sayings is, you have to name it to tame it, right? Is this whole aspect of having a better vocabulary, because when you have a better vocabulary, you will be able to know what am I feeling at this point of time, and therefore what should be my response to this situation or what I'm feeling at this point of time. So the point is not that there is anything wrong with me feeling angry. There is nothing is wrong with feeling really jealous of something about somebody. But what is sometimes not okay is when I feel any of these things, I don't humanize myself to say it's okay if I'm jealous, it's okay if I'm sad, but I'm intelligent enough to know what to do with it, right? What to do with my sadness, what to do with my jealousy, what to do with my, and I want to continue and perpetuate relationships. And for all of those, I really need to know how to deal with my emotions. So in fact, being emotionally intelligent is knowing what I feel and also knowing how, choosing how I want to respond to the situation, the event, or the person, and then making sure that I express it so that it works for me and it works for you. That is really what emotional intelligence is. So if I go further, as I already said, everything about humans is a little more complex. It seemed like, sad, mad, glad, upset, fearful is a very simple, set categorization. But I think we can go much further than that. And we can say that there are a number of complex feelings that we all have. And it is a good idea to possibly look at those as well. Right? And I'm not going to spend again too much time, given the fact that we don't have as much time to talk about it. But just for you to see that sometimes my sadness and anger put together, I'm sad and I'm angry, I feel hurt. Many of us had used the word hurt even in the first time when I asked you to describe the situations. Similarly, I can sometimes feel sad and joyful at the same time, and thus feel nostalgic. So, many of us, when we go back to our colleges or we go back to meet our cousins or something like that, we really feel nostalgic. We feel sad for the fact that, we couldn't see them so long, and we feel joy because we are now able to see them, and therefore we enjoy that whole moment. So the sadness and joy can combine nostalgia. Or all adventure sport, right? Whether it is bungee jumping, whether it is a roller coaster ride, whether it is whatever, it is pure and joy together, and it is excitement. So what I'm saying is, we all have a lot of different combination words, and we all feel many things at the same time. And because it is complex, sometimes I'm really not sure whether I'm sad or I'm angry, whether I'm upset or I'm scared, right? And I might be both at some point, and therefore I might not really know how to respond to it. And sometimes even if I know, I don't know how to respond to it. In fact, all my life, I have been told, when you feel, you should hide your feeling. If you're feeling really angry, please smile. Yeah, that's what people say. If you're feeling really upset, you just, don't say anything. Or the other thing that we do with feelings very often is, if you're feeling something, you bottle it up. You just, push it down, right? You can't feel. How can you feel, right? It's not okay for you to feel. You're too old, you're too young, you're too this, you're too mature, whatever. You can't feel. The third thing we do with our feelings very often is we displace them. I'm really upset with my mom, but I actually go and show it on my dog because, you know, mom, I can't show my anger, but I can actually show it to my dog. And therefore I displace it. I feel something with someone and I show it to somebody else. And when I do it too often, people think I'm unreasonable because they didn't do anything. And I'm the one who's actually saying things to them. While in fact, I'm not angry with them. I'm only showing their anger to them because they're powerless. They're less powerful than me. Or they are, you know, more quieter than me, or they will not shout back at me. And therefore, what will happen is I will end up displacing it, which makes me actually feel very irrational. People are very unaware, unsure about what to do and how to do because my emotional responses seem very out of place, right? So we hide our emotions, we displace them, we bottle them, we sometimes, you know, completely show our emotions, and that also ends up hurting the relationship because I haven't edited my emotion at all. I haven't done anything with it, and it has just come out in a way that in fact it doesn't work for me and it doesn't work for you. So what should we do? We should actually not fight. We should accept what our emotion is, and then as an intelligent being, I should figure out what might be the best way to show what I show, what I'm feeling at this point of time. So if I go a little further, okay, if I go a little further, I will skip this. Yeah, here is my favorite picture for emotional intelligence. Being emotionally intelligent is where your head and heart is actually in the head itself, have coffee together all the time. Unfortunately, for most of us, our head and heart don't have coffee together. Sometimes, you know, only the head is having coffee, and therefore I'm not, you know, I'm feeling all the anger. The other person knows that I'm angry, and I ask you, are you angry? And you say, no, I'm not angry. Yeah. Or you are really, or I carry all my anger on my shoulder. Everyone can see I'm angry, and therefore I'm not even, so people just are so scared to touch me because I don't know when I will, you know, burst out and say something. So my point is that as a more emotionally intelligent human being, it's important for me that my heart, that part of my head, which is telling me that there is something that has come about, there is something that has happened for which you need to pay attention, and then allowing my head, my system 2 of the brain, which is not in the jungle, which is not saying it is a survival issue, which can tell me, okay, if this is what is happening, what might be the best way to respond to it, right? And once I can choose that, I can actually make a much better response, which allows the other person to also recognize that something is happening. And even if they don't respond, even if they're not reasonable, I'm better off being reasonable, because at least I'm not somebody who's coming across as a manic, who's saying things, who's not saying things, who's, you know, all of that, who's, I'm actually choosing to respond rather than to what shall we say, react. Okay. Let me give you, you know, in fact, our why we react is also in our biology, right? We are like every other, what shall we say? We're like a lot of us, as human beings, as part of the living system, we are programmed to survive. And this programming for survival actually also resides in our head. It's in a part of the brain which is called the amygdala. And the amygdala, that is part of our brain, their job is to the amygdala's job is to continuously monitor the situation and tell people, tell the person in which it is there to be to always react to the situation. So for example, if you are sleeping and your amygdala senses that there is a danger, there is some sound that comes up, your amygdala will completely take charge and it will show a response, right? A reaction. Sometimes when I see, for example, if we all have many instances of amygdala hijack. So for example, if I'm waiting for, let us say my spouse or partner or friend or whatever, they said they will come at 8:30 in the evening, and 8:30 no show, 9 o'clock no show, 9:30 no show, 9:45 no show, whatever time, and by 10 o'clock, by the time they come in, I'm so angry, I'm so irritated, I'm so upset, I'm so anxious that as soon as I see them, I don't ask them, are you okay? Why weren't you picking up the phone? I say, you're always like this. You always make me wait. You don't care about me. You don't do this. Now, when I say this, what does the other person say? The other person also says, maybe they had the phone was not charged, maybe they were in a meeting that they could not come out of, or whatever it is, and so they are stressed and anxious. But you have decided to completely download. You can't really communicate after that. And if you can't communicate after that, in fact, what happens is there is a break in communication, and that break in communication is likely to lead for you to not be able to have that that relationship breaks at that point of time. So what I'm trying to say is, as when I'm emotionally intelligent, I'm able to recognize that I am feeling something. I completely validly accept what I'm feeling, and whatever I'm feeling, I'm willing to go forward from that. And I know I'm intelligent enough to know how to respond to this situation, right? Now, for most of us, this might seem like a very simple thing, but it's not, because most of us hide from our emotions. We don't accept our emotions. And we work with habitual ways of responding. And some of this comes from our very young age. So I often share the story of when I was doing my, plus two. For when I was doing my plus two, it was a university exam, right? So it was not a board exam. It used to be a university exam. So there used to be a rank, and there used to be all of that. So when the result came out, I was third in the university. So I was first class third. And of course, it was a very big thing. I was third in the university or whatever it was. And that evening, I was going to see my friend. I grew up in a township where everyone knew everybody. And, if you walked, everybody knew kya jiska result nikla hai. So, whatever. So I'm walking down the street, and one of the aunties who lived in the street asked me what my result was. And given how I had grown up, I very quietly told her first class third, and I went away. And when I came back home, my mom said, oh, that auntie had come, and what she heard was that you had got a third division. And and then my mother said, and it is very good that you are not showing off, that you're not, you were not being very happy, and so on and so forth. So in fact, my mom praised me for having said it in such a way that she actually believed that I'd got a third division. So the lesson I learned was, it's not good to show happiness. It is always good to be modest and quiet, and so on and so forth. And that is exactly what I was doing at that point of time. So most of us, even for happiness, forget anger, forget fear, right? For most of things, we have learned that it's not okay to show emotions. Yeah, it's okay to hide them. It's okay to underplay them. It's okay to not accept them. Being emotionally intelligent, but the problem is that this emotion is not, it can't be hidden. It is natural, it is human, it is us, right? So what is mine and what is us cannot be hidden, and it will impact us, it will hurt us, and it will show in a certain way. So when I'm emotionally intelligent, in fact, I try to fully um, express it, but I learn to express it in a way that it works for you and it works for me. Give you another example, common example. So let us say you and your friend are both working very hard, and you both studied for the exam or whatever you needed to do, and one of you came, got a really good mark, and you didn't get that same mark, right? I will be happy for my friend because they got a good mark, but I will also be jealous. It's human to feel jealous, right? Now, what will I say? I will, my brain will tell me, yeah, my part of what, no, it is not good to be jealous. Friends are not jealous. Jealousy is only for, the people who are mean. I am much nobler than this. I can't be jealous. I am not this, that. This is the story I will tell myself. And then another friend calls and says, oh, did you hear that, she got such a high mark? And I will say, you know how she got it? And even before I recognize, I have allowed my jealousy to actually come out in the response. Yeah. And then I feel really terrible because she's a good friend and what I'm doing is not a good thing, and so on and so forth. And so what really happens in this entire process is, as a I am not able to actually get rid of it, and I've now shared it in such a way that it actually makes me look like a worse person. Being emotionally intelligent would mean I would completely accept the fact that I am jealous. Yeah, I will possibly have a self conversation with me saying, Hare, I also studied so hard, and she also studied so hard, but she got a great grade. I did not get a great grade, and therefore I am jealous, and blah blah blah, all of that. How long do you think this jealousy will stay? Right? Not very long, because it's in the body. The emotion is a physical reaction, and anything that is physical cannot stay forever. Anything that is in the body will go away after a while, right? It's like a charge. No charge stays forever. After some time, it goes away. And when it goes away and I meet my friend, I can actually be very happy for her, and I can also tell her, I'm very happy, but I'm also a little jealous. But when I say that, I don't have that charge any longer, right? The charge that I had when I did not accept that jealousy, and the way I told my friend, is very different from when I have accepted my jealousy and I have decided, it's okay, yes, I'm jealous, and maybe she was a little luckier than me, or whatever it is. And then I can actually tell her, then when I respond, I don't respond in an inappropriate way. It doesn't come out in a way that it doesn't work for us. So what I'm trying to say is, the topic for my talk was agility, emotional agility. Emotional agility is what? It's this, that I have the emotion. It is human for me to have the emotion. I don't let it become me. I choose what I will do with that emotion. I choose that right now I'm feeling really, really, really locked down in my head. Yeah, depressed, irritated, can't go out, can't do this, can't do that. Right? It's a real emotion. Yet, being emotionally agile would say, yes, I'm feeling really, really, really like this. But what can I do about it? Yeah. And then my brain, my second system 2 brain will kick in, and it will allow me to then choose, okay, let me read a book. Today I'll watch a movie. I'm going to call a friend. Let my friend and I will play Ludo online, right? Now, so what I'm doing is, I accepted that I am irritated, I am feeling locked in, I am feeling lonely, I am feeling depressed, but I don't let that feeling be me at that point of time. It's a feeling. It's something that I am at this point of time feeling. I'm going to take it from there and let my brain tell me what might be the best way to respond to it. I'm not saying at any given point of time that I have to be 24/7 happy. I'm not going to be 24/7 happy. In fact, I will be a inhuman person if I'm 24/7 happy. I'm more human when I'm sometimes sad, sometimes fearful, sometimes happy, sometimes hurt, sometimes all of that. But I'm much more intelligent as a human when I also know what to do with my sadness, what to do with my anger, what to do with my happiness, and what to do with my fear. That is when I'm actually saying I am also a little more intelligent. That is what emotional intelligence is about. It's a very simple concept, but some things that are really simple are not always easy to practice because we are creatures of habit. Yeah, we've learned to do what I just said we do with emotions, hide them, you know, we do everything but feel them. So the emotionally intelligent person allows themselves to feel what they feel and recognize that their head can come in the way, have coffee with the feeling, and do something about it, and therefore be more appropriate in the situation, right? So that is really what the being emotionally intelligent is. So here is a simple way of what I have been saying. There is going to be a stimulus. The emotion is a warning that there is a stimulus that is coming. So when I walk into the office, when I walk into my workplace, and if I see my director coming with a face which is very red, I know today maybe he's had a bad day or he's having a bad day. It is, and maybe I don't like to meet people who are having a bad day. And some my experiences that when I meet people who are having a bad day, they're sometimes nasty to me. My brain tells me, oh, something's okay. I can actually use a different route so that we don't come face to face. So I interpret the possible emotion, the emotion of fear that gets aroused in me because I see my director coming in a huffed manner, and I move out and I decide I don't have to meet him today. I will just go this way. I will behave in a certain way. So again, what I'm saying is we have the capacity to do it. It is this capacity that allows us to survive. So why would I take something that allows me to survive and not use it is the question. Why would I allow my amygdala to use it? And why will I not allow me and my whole self to use it is the question I'm asking each one of them. So I will skip this. And I will very quickly move to what are called, if you agree, if this is something you want to work on, I'm going to leave you with some very simple strategies that you can use to change your habits around emotional intelligence, right? If you think this is something you want to do, which I think all of us can do, we're not born with it. So if I can't, it's not about whether I'm good at math or not good at math. Any one of us at any given point of time in our life can choose to become more emotionally intelligent because we already have the ingredient. We feel all the time. Now, the only thing that I need to impose on that is, can I learn to also use my feelings in such a way that they actually further a relationship rather than break a relationship. They further a communication rather than break a communication. So that is what I'm trying to do. So first and foremost is, most of us live a life where we are absolutely mindless of what is happening to us, right? Many of us, even after half an hour or an hour after we've had our lunch or a break or something like that, and you're asked, what did you eat? And we don't remember what we eat because we're so mindlessly stuffing ourselves. We don't even pay attention to what we are eating, right? We're just eating something that's served to us or is on our plate. So it's important that at least at some point of the day, you're fully mindful. Mindfulness is a practice. Yeah. When I'm fully mindful, I am starting to see that part of the reaction, that part of that equation where a stimulus comes and an emotion arises, right? I will be able to see it in real time. Not, it's like driving, right? When you first learn to drive, it's so much work, right? Here gear, here this, here that, mirror dekhna hai, wo karna, it's so much work, right? It almost seems impossible. But once you know how to drive, you don't pay attention to it. So while you're learning to be emotionally intelligent, this might all seem like a lot of work, but please remember, it will get easier over time and you will learn it, right? First and foremost, the second one is have a better vocabulary, improve your emotional vocabulary. Time to time, you might want to ask yourself, what am I feeling? And you should know what you're feeling. You should be able to name it, because if you don't name it, then how are you even going to deal with it, right? Sometimes I'm really sad, but I think I'm angry. Sometimes I'm angry and I think I'm fearful. I'm not, and therefore I respond inappropriately to the situation, right? So I think it's important to know what you're feeling at this point of time, and language doesn't matter here, right? So whichever language you might want to do it, it will still be useful for you. Feelings, as I said, are not without a cause. If you are feeling anxious, then there is something that is happening. So rather than trying to do something with your feeling, do something with the cause. So if you work on the cause, then you are actually looking at what needs to be fixed rather than the feeling. So what we do is, I'm feeling depressed. So if I'm feeling depressed, so let me eat ice cream. Ice cream, depression is not the problem. The problem is there is something that is causing that depression. Can I look at that cause rather than actually the feeling itself? Differentiating between emotion and taking action. Every time I feel something, I don't have to act, right? So many times, let's say with my mom, if I feel anger, I don't have to slap her. If I feel anger, I don't have to feel guilty about feeling angry with my mother. I'm feeling angry, I'm okay, I'm feeling angry, and I will respond to it, and that is something that I do. Everything that happens to us we can learn to figure out a way out of it, and that is really what emotional agility is. So like we learn to be pessimistic, we can also learn to be optimistic, right? I can also learn to say, okay, it is really sunny today, or I can it is really hot and bad day today, or I can say it is sunny, maybe my flowers will flower a little better because it is so sunny today. So it's a matter of how I look at the situation. Anger is one of the most difficult emotions, also most toxic. It changes us and our behavior. So anger is one of those things that you must catch before it catches you, right? Because anger can engulf us. So I must know that anger's coming in your body. You will always get warning signals. Maybe your head will start to tingle, your face will start to get red, or your bones will start to jangle, or something will happen to you. At that point of time, learn, create a habit that when this starts to come on, I'm going to count 1 to 5. I'm going to count 10 to 1, or whatever it is, something. I will breathe loudly, or whatever it is, so that the anger does not engulf me. I make a choice how I want to respond to this situation, even though I'm feeling really angry at this point of time. There's always something that my feeling is telling me. There is a lesson that is being given. When I have learned the lesson that when somebody is really angry, red in face, don't face them. It's an important thing, because when I face them, they will maybe, whatever they will say, then I will get angry, then we will have a bigger issue. So maybe the best thing at that point of time is to be quiet, yeah, or to avoid the situation and later talk about it, because then we are both calm and we can both talk about it. So there is always a lesson there is, and we can take about it. Last one, and I will skip this one. So so basically what we are saying is, this is in the gut. Your feeling is your gut. Yeah, it's in the body. The body is telling you what you need to feel, how you need to do something, and you need to do it. And the last one that I want to also add is there is, of course, if you don't listen well, yeah, to what is happening around you, then you will always be misjudging, making assumptions, and jumping to conclusions without necessarily even paying attention to what is happening there. So I think it's so important to also listen as much it is to do something. So again, I'm very quickly saying that as an emotionally intelligent person, sometimes when I'm in these feelings of fear, of a broken heart, self-doubt, or feeling unworthy, or anxious, or sad, and I'm trying to get rid of it, it is like playing a tug of war with a monster. The more I try to get rid of it, the bigger they become. I am sad and I am more sad. I can't, I'm not worth anything. I'm not all of that. To get out of that feeling, actually, don't play a tug of war with it. Leave the room. Say, yeah, I'm sad at this point of time. How long can you remain sad? Today I'm feeling quite stupid. How long will you feel stupid? It is human to at times go through a low and also at times come through out of it. So when I leave the rope, that rope has no power over me. When I continue to hold the rope, then that rope has too much power over me, and I will always be the littler person and the other person will be the bigger person. And therefore we need to be careful about it. So so I will stop here just saying that sometimes the best thing to do with your feeling is to feel it and let go and then decide how you want to do something. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. It was really, maybe you have skipped so many slides, but what has been required for this one is actually been taken. And I think that is what actually everybody should look for at this point of time into their emotions. The conditions are really bad. Generally, we say that it is really bad, but try to find out the good things from that and try to respond to that. So maybe if you have questions, either you can post it in the chat box, or if you raise your hand, you can raise it from there, not and we can ask questions. Umesh sir, you want to ask a question?
There is a question here which says why we feel confused. It's also human to feel confused. Sometimes I don't know what to do, how to do, what not to do. Again, at that point of time, I think it's so much important to say, yes, I'm feeling confused. And then taking the pause will allow me to then figure out how I want to go further. Yeah, the pause is a very important. That would be my answer to that. But it's human to feel confused.
Okay. Yeah, Anashwara want to ask a question. Anashwara, please.
Yeah. Can't hear you, Anashwara.
No. You can unmute Anashwara. Or Naveen Arjun Soni want to ask. You can unmute and ask.
Yes, hi. Can you hear me?
Yes,
yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, hi. I'm calling from Hong Kong. Ma'am. So the question I have is professional respect or the impression of respect, especially in a multicultural environment where sometimes if you don't if you're not firm in your behavior in a meeting, for example, or if you don't give your views on things, which sometimes border down to whether this person is there's an impression whether this person is to be taken for granted for next time, or this person doesn't have the professional confidence. How do you balance that? Because sometimes the impression where managing emotions becomes tough is when in a meeting 3 or 4 people you feel you're attacked, but you still have to respond in a way which is professional. I think that is the tricky part.
Absolutely, absolutely. So if I'm feeling attacked, then there is something that's happening in the environment. But if I start to defend myself, I will become the victim. It's so much more important to say, yes, I'm feeling attacked to myself. What can I do in this situation to actually still be heard in this context? Because my purpose to be in the meeting is to present my point of view and not to simply feel or try to bring somebody down or to protect myself. So I think the point again is that at that point of time, what must I do to not get swayed by the feeling, but to do what is required. So for example, if I'm feeling, I can collect the data and I can say, well, I'm feeling really attacked. I think these two people, something in them is making me really scared, or something that they're saying is not sitting right with me. But this is not the point to raise it. I will still continue to raise my point, but maybe outside of the meeting, I will spend a couple of minutes asking them what happened in that meeting. Now, once I say that, once I do that outside of the meeting, I have also placed what I have felt at that point of time. See, expression of emotion is culturally determined, but the existence of emotion is universal. Yeah, we did some research around 65 countries where we just found this, that everybody feels all the emotions, but the way in which emotions are expressed actually is culturally very different, right? So there, and when I'm in a new cultural context, I also need to understand how a particular emotion is expressed rather than simply talking about the emotion itself. So that's important in that sense. I don't know if it answers that your question, but it's a thought that I want to leave with.
Okay, Umesh sir, you can ask.
Yeah, Madam, this is Umesh Neelakantan. Madam, very fastly, I was a student in FDP 2008 also.
Okay. Hi.
Okay, yeah. Madam, I'm calling you Liberia right now. I'm working in Liberia. I just have a small question. Is it that the judgment in profession, actually, when you take some very important decisions in professional status, the judgment actually overrides the emotions. So is it very important that judgment should override emotions, or should we go with emotions with empathy?
So I don't know exactly what you're saying, but what I personally believe is that my emotions will color how I will look at the situation, right? And that's good, because then I know, is this somebody who I need to be careful of? Is this situation something but it's also important to know that if I go just by a pre-decided judgment that is basically a stereotype or a prejudice, then I'm not being alive to the situation at this point of time. I'm going by what I have heard or what I have been told is the way to look at it. And that is not what one is actually trying to do in this case. So I think... Yes, Umesh.
Sorry. The only apprehension is that in certain judgment we use our intelligence more than the emotions. We use the intelligence more than so.
Well, my point is you can't be intelligent without your emotion. Your emotion is a pre to your intelligence. So when will I know what to respond to? It is my emotion which will allow me to do that. Yeah, I may or may not be aware of it, but in fact, I can't be intelligent without my emotion.
Okay. Thank you, madam.
Okay. Anas, Gayatri wants to ask a question.
Okay.
Gayatri, you can unmute and ask. No, I'll read out the.
I can see the question.
To you.
I can see the question. It says listening for the lesson of feelings. So point is very simple. When I feel something, there is definitely something in the environment which is making me feel it. So the point is, can I learn, can I understand why I'm feeling something, and then choose to respond rather than simply respond because, as Dr. Umesh said, I might already have a pre-decided format from which I will respond. When I use a pre-decided format, I'm actually leaving out a very important contextual information. So learn the lessons from your feelings. So whatever feelings tell you, accept it. There is something that is important in there. How to deal with overthinking? I think I don't know. I think if I'm able to recognize the moment. So if I'm more mindful of what is here, then I don't overthink. Actually, most of us make too many stories about the emotions we hold rather than the actual emotion. Freud said this very interestingly. He said, the problem for us is that no emotion is good or bad. It is the guilt that we have about having an emotion which actually makes us more unhappy or happy in that entire sense. So what the story we create about our emotion is more damaging than the actual emotion. How can I be angry? How can I feel attracted to this person? How can I have a crush on this person? I have. That's it. Now, what do I do with it is my intelligence. If I feel angry, I feel angry. What do I do with my anger is what I need to do with it, rather than actually being guilty or overthinking about the feeling that I have. So that's something that would be interesting for you to look at. Okay.
Another question.
Yeah.
Another question which is asked by Srijit is, what happens if one suppresses anger? The other thing he asked already you have answered. Feels angry, is it okay to express yourself? But what happens if one suppresses anger?
So when we suppress anger, it affects our body. All our headaches, our blood pressures, and all of that is what happens when we suppress anger. Anger is as real as happiness. Anger is as real as fear. When I have anger, I have anger. When I suppress it, something happens to my body. Now, it doesn't happen one time, two time, three time, but it becomes a habit, and that is why many people at the age of 40, are more ill than they really need to be. Partly because you're just collecting all the residue of the emotions that you're holding. No need. It's okay to express it. Learn to express it in a way that your relationship is maximized rather than broken. When I humanize and when I accept my own emotion, I think and sometimes I also realize that sometimes it need not be said. I'm not suppressing it, but I'm making a choice of whether I need to express it or I don't need to express it. And I also know whether I express it or not, when I feel it fully, it goes away after a while. Yeah, it's a habit. It's not easy. Learn to, if you practice it, you can have it.
To supplement what you said about then we are changing our feelings into a thinking, a logic or a reasoning kind of thing. If we are taking it from heart, you take it to the brain, and you are trying it to have a reason to find out, or should I respond or should I not to respond, or how should I respond? Will it be that
That is
what
the
you are
whole
telling?
point. Now, that is why it is two words together: emotion and intelligence. Yeah,
Yes.
it is not just my heart, it is also my head. It is the
Yes.
two together which make us human. Yeah, I'm not just my head and I'm not just my heart. In fact, that is why my head and heart need to have coffee together. Yeah, that is why it is important. Yeah, it's not easy.
Okay.
It's a new message. It's how we start to think of it.
Yeah, that metaphor is actually a good, having coffee with heart and brain is a very good
Yes.
pictorial representation.
Yes.
And Nadia, I think Nadia got the answer for that. She was asking whether who should we follow, our heart or brain. So I think you answered it rightly.
Yes.
Manu is
Yes.
asking,
Yes.
uh, can you explain how to rule obedience emotion in human character and how to exist the disorder of exit disorder of a social character? I think you got the crux of it, that how to be emotionally obedient and how to express it in a social
Yeah, I don't know if you need to be emotionally obedient, but I think you need to be emotionally aware. Yeah, when I'm aware of what I'm feeling, I will know what to do with it. When I'm not even aware and I can't name it, I'm actually angry, but I'm thinking I'm scared. I'm actually upset with somebody, and I'm thinking that I'm not upset. How can I be upset? I'm too adult to feel upset. I'm not even accepting it. So the point is not about obedience. I think it's about awareness, is what I would say.
okay. Yeah, then Hari is asking, how should we frame our emotional intelligence? I think
You don't need to frame it, develop it.
yeah. Pooja's question is for
Yes.
sharing. No, no,
Yeah.
she's just thanking you for
Thank you. Thank you.
is the Akila is asking, is the intelligence that come from our brain or heart? So obviously from the brain.
Yeah, actually both are, this whole, the emotion it's just a convenient representation to say it is from the heart. That's also a head function, because in fact my emotion is there to protect me, to make me survive. Yeah, imagine if a newborn baby never showed happiness, nobody would hold them, right? Why would I hold this 2.5 kg of whatever thing who has no smile on their face? Even the smile helps them to get the affection of the mother or whoever is holding them. So in a way, every emotion is meant for survival. And therefore it is not from the heart is just a representation. Emotion is actually a very, very head thing. The unfortunate thing is we pay attention to our thought, but we don't pay attention to our emotion. It's also years of teaching, right? When you're really young and if you are crying, I'm sure your mother says, don't cry, it's okay, eat an apple, eat a chocolate, come, let's go. So the point is, don't feel. Yeah. And when I'm again 21, when I start to feel really angry or depressed, I smoke or I drink or whatever. I've learned that when I feel something, rather than feeling it, the better thing is to go eat and drink and do some other harmful behavior. But what I could do is actually just feel it, because I'm not that fragile. If I feel it, after a while, I will find a way out of it. That is more important.
Okay. Prakash sir is having a question. You can unmute and ask if you want.
We will take one more after this, I guess.
Yeah. Maybe
That's the end of it. That's
it's time.
It's time.
Dr. Raimala Martin is also there if she wants to.
If you're scared of someone and it is difficult to express our anger, for sure. But if I accept the fact that, I can't show anger every time, but there will be times when I learn to say, okay, this is not acceptable and I will have to express it, and they are my administrator or they are somebody who has power over me, then it is better for me to say, yes, I'm angry, and I will not go and shout at them now. I'll wait for a little while. When I'm in control, that is when I'm going to go and tell them something. And if at all, if you just can't tell them, just can't tell them, even then at that point of time, saying to yourself that I'm angry and it's okay for me to be angry is a lot more healing than to even say that I'm not angry, I can't be angry. I'm this amazing human being who can never be angry. That is not working.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, ma'am.
All right.
I think.
We should. We should.
Yeah.
It's time to.
Yeah, since the positive
This is a
time
very,
is
very
actually.
deep conversation. It doesn't happen over an hour, but I invite you all to think about it. I think we are fairly intelligent. We know what it is.
Yeah.
We can do that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I could spot Himadri Burman also in the team, but I think his
really?
audio is not connected. Himadri
Okay.
is I just asked him.
Oh, yes.
Thanks Himadri for joining. If you want to ask something, but his audio is not collected. Some maybe connectivity issues. Okay. Thank you, ma'am, so much on behalf of everyone present here. It was actually how to control. I think those who have listened to ma'am and through Zoom platform or even from the YouTube would have taken points. And it is not like something we should do from tomorrow onwards. It should start now, so that you imbibe it in your life, so that the life will be better. And thank you from my side. Maybe I'll hand over to Vineet to conclude the session. Okay.
Thank you.
So thank you very much, Neharika Madam, for accepting our invite. And thank you, AB, for bringing Neharika Madam to this platform. AB was the enabler for this talk. And it was a real good, what you call, talk, and very engaging and very thought-provoking in the sense, because like we are getting feedback from different WhatsApp platforms, YouTube also, we are getting comments. And there are people watching from across the world. We could see that people are there from Hong Kong, from Liberia. So there are people from across the world who are what you call experiencing this talk. It's not a talk to be enjoyed, it's to be experienced, and it has to be brought to practice. So thank you very much, Neharika Madam. And on behalf of MaxEd and Mathrubhumi, I would like to thank you and all the participants who have joined us from across the world. A big thanks to Mathrubhumi, one of the biggest media houses in Kerala, who have been a pillar of support for all our webinars. And generally, what we do is at the end of a webinar, we announce the next webinar. So we will just announce the next talk as well, so that we will keep that ritual. And the next webinar is a star speaker, and everybody knows him. Okay, he doesn't need again an introduction. So it will be Dr. Saji Gopinath, who will be speaking on the new normal in education in the background of COVID-19, and especially with relevance to the new education policy. And as everybody knows, he's the CEO of Kerala Startup Mission and director of IIMK. And everybody knows that Honorable Governor of Kerala has appointed Dr. Saji as the Vice Chancellor of the University of Innovation and of New University of Innovation, Kerala University of Innovation. Okay, so he will be with us on 15th of August, and 15th of August is the last talk that we have as part of this series, and the time is 6:30 p.m. So on behalf of the whole Mathrubhumi MaxEd team, thank you all once again. Thank you, Neharika Madam. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam. Thank you for all. Thank you, my sir. Thank you, Naveen, and all.
Thank you.
Thank you.